Good morning, everyone. How's your day?
Good morning. Good morning. It's fine.
Okay, good to hear.
Cold weather.
Okay, so before we start, I am going to introduce myself. By the way, I am Chainami Emily Baton. I am the host for today's video. So let's tackle about climate change. So what is climate change? Anyone? Yes, Amaru?
Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns.
Okay, thank you. May I call Kadilig to read the statement?
Thank you. Climate change refers to the long-term impact of temperature or weather patterns.
Okay, so thank you. So climate change are innate and are expected to evolve over time during the solar cycle, but increased human activities such as industrialization and urbanization have impacted the natural cycle of climate change. So, like fossil fuels, carbon dioxide, and various greenhouse gas emissions have made climate change a more predominant problem in our societies. Okay, so that is climate change. Okay, so let's move on. So, what is the difference between climate change and global warming? So, may I call Trisha May to read?
Okay. Climate change refers to both the changing temperatures and their weather patterns, whereas global warming solely refers to the increase of the Earth's temperature.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so let's think of a planet Earth like a person is out and about in a winter storm wearing a heavy winter jacket. So now imagine that the Earth is still wearing that jacket and isn't allowed to take it off, and the weather suddenly changes from winter to summer, a toasty summer at that. So that's how the Earth feels due to global warming, suffocating in heat and unable to find any immediate relief. Okay? So, why is climate change bad for the planet and life on Earth? Jo Marie, can you read it for me? Ay, sorry.
Climate change is negatively affecting the temperature, wildlife, ecosystem, and natural resources that human life depends on for survival. Needless to say, climate change isn't necessarily the greatest thing to happen for life on Earth.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so climate change is occurring due to our increased industrial activity, urbanization, and high carbon emitting pleasures like travel and the rapid acceleration of consumerism for product life fast fashion. So these activities deplete unnecessary resources while also worsening pollution with extensive use of fossil fuels that perpetuate even more greenhouse gas emissions, which all aids to maintain climate change to be the crisis that it is. Okay, so climate change also provokes natural disasters such as heat waves or hurricanes that make our available resources sparse and directly reduce our capability to, to fight against climate change. This is another reason why climate change is impacting life on Earth, as natural disasters give society another crisis to worry about, and the catastrophe created by a natural disaster are directly cause of climate change. So, these challenging events are only expected to occur with increased severity at a more frequent rate as climate change continues to be a problem. Okay, so what does climate change in 2022 look like? Okay, Miss Donna, can you read it?
While there are many preventative measures and new technologies being made to combat further climate change, the truth is that the forecast for climate change in 2022 isn't looking much better.
Okay, so thank you. So, climate change in 2022 and the years to come is only expected to get worse. For example, There is a 93% chance that one of the years between 2022 and 2026 will be the warmest year to date, breaking the previous record held by 2016. Also, the average global temperature for the 5 years period between 2022 and 2026 is projected to be higher than the previous 5 year period between 2017 and 2021. Okay, so let's move on. So, Philippines determined as the most affected by climate change. Climate change in the Philippines is having a serious impact such as increased frequency and severity of natural disasters, sea levels rise, extreme rainfall, resource shortages, and environmental degradation. So as you can see, Philippines is the most disaster-prone countries. At the center of a typhoon belt, its islands are regularly impacted by floods, typhoons, landslide, earthquakes, and volcanoes. Okay? So now I'm going to call your names and I want you to answer it. Okay, so what are the main traits of climate change? Kadilig?
Okay, thank you. The main traits of climate change, stemming from the rising temperature of Earth's atmosphere, include rising sea levels, ecosystem collapse, and more frequent and severe weather. Rising temperature from human-caused greenhouse gas emissions affects the planet-wide systems and various systems.
Okay, so thank you. So the main traits of climate change stemming from the rising temperature of Earth's atmosphere include rising sea levels, ecosystem collapse, and more frequent and severe weather. All of these impacts and many others will become more severe if we don't act to stop greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so next, how is climate change affecting animals? Kadilig?
Yes, thank you. Okay, how is climate change affect animals? In fact, humans and wild animals face new challenges for survival because climate change more frequent and intense droughts, storms, heat waves, rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and warming oceans can directly harm animals, destroy the places they live, do wreak havoc on people's livelihoods and communities.
Okay, thank you. So many species are approaching or have already reached the limit of where they can go to find hospitable climates. So, in both oceans and on land, the changes in temperature and moisture are causing some species to migrate in search of new places to live. There are some natural places with enough diversity and altitude and geology such that as the planet warms, they can be resilient strongholds for plant and animal species. Okay, so let's move on. How is climate change is affecting people? May I call Trisha May Habonilio?
Okay. How is climate change affecting people? Climate change is already impacting health in a myriad of ways, including by leading to death and illness from increasing frequent, such as heat waves, storms, disruption of food system, increase in zoonosis and food, water, and vector-borne diseases and mental health issues.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so you may have noticed how weather patterns near you are shifting or how more frequent and severe storms are developing in the spring. Maybe your community is experiencing more severe flooding or wildfires. Many areas are even experiencing sunny day flooding as rising as sea levels cause streets to flood during high tides. Okay? So, does deforestation contribute to climate change? May I call Mayan, Miss Mayan Partosa?
Yes. Does deforestation contribute to climate change? As uncontrolled deforestation carries on carbon is released as carbon dioxide and traps heat in its atmosphere. This will then cause global warming. Thus, it can be concluded that deforestation can change in the climate due to internal heating of Earth. Moreover, deforestation can lead to change of weather patterns.
Okay, so thank you. Okay, so yes, of course, deforestation contribute to climate change in a couple ways. Forests are one of our most important types of natural carbon storage. So when forests get cut down, they lose their ability to store the greenhouse gas. Burning trees release even more carbon into the atmosphere. Forests are some of the best natural climate solution we have on this planet. Okay, so what are solutions to climate change? May I call Mr. Jomari Quintana?
Yes, some practices includes segregate waste, use biodegradable products, do not use pesticides in killing pests, but, but use biological means, switch off lights and electrical appliances when not in use, save on gas, save on water, create composite pit as depository of waste and plastics, avoid burning of everything, create septic tanks as depository for the waste of your pigs. And lastly, plant more trees and don't cut them.
Okay, so thank you. So, climate change can be slowed down by everyone. We have the power to change everything from the way we travel to the electricity we use to the fun we consume. The greatest solution to quit using fossil fuels is to switch to clean, renewable energy as our primary energy source. Okay, so what can you do to stop climate change? May I call Donna Utlang? Miss Donna?
Okay, so what can you do to stop climate change? Individuals can make changes to their lives to reduce their personal carbon footprint, but it's more important to persuade decision makers in governments and businesses to drive emission reductions on a much larger scale. The most effective action to take as an individual is to urge leaders in business and governments to stop global warming getting worse as quickly as they possibly can. Climate change needs to be slowed down urgently because the effects of a warming climate on people and nature are already extremely serious. No single person or group of people are to blame for climate change, but governments have more power than individuals to stop global warming getting worse.
Okay, thank you. So, the question is, what can you do to stop climate change? Honestly, this is the best question because you can be part of the climate change solution. It's really important that we use our voices for climate action. Tell your policymakers that you care about climate change and want to see them enact laws and policies that address greenhouse gas emission and climate impacts. Okay, so what happens if we do nothing to stop climate change? May I call again Miss Tricia May Habonillo?
Yes. Okay. If that further strong to stop impacts we're already seeing, the planet is likely to see cold temperatures rise by 2 degrees Celsius to 3 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century.
Okay, thank you. So, our climate change is changing around us faster than predicted. From more frequent and severe and extreme storms to unprecedented heat waves, we're feeling the impacts of human caused global warming. If we do nothing to stop climate change, it will affect all of us. So that's all for today. Any questions and clarifications?
No, ma'am.
What about the others?
No, ma'am.
None so far. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for coming and for listening. You can leave now. Bye, guys.
Bye.